Okay, welcome to my class. You may have heard about me through my YouTube channel or the birth of me through our mother. So we're gonna get started in Sukhasana, easy pose. So if you would like to bring a little bit of height to your hips, you can sit on a pillow or a block just to raise the hips up a little bit and create a bit of that anterior tilt to the pelvis so that the knees come down towards the ground, rolling the shoulders up and back. Spine is long, extending through the crown of the head, tucking the chin just slightly, and closing down the eyes. Coming into focus on the breath. And tuning in here to find your anchor point. This is the point in the body where you most notice the movement from the breath. This could be your nostrils, your throat, chest, or your belly. No one spot is better than any other, just noticing where it is without judgment. I'm not trying to change or deepen anything, just observing the breath with curiosity. Perhaps noticing the tempo of the breath, the temperature of the breath. And now tuning in more to the body, starting with a quick scan. Starting at the top of the head. And slowly scanning down, not getting stuck on any one spot. But just evenly scanning down. Again, without judgment, just noticing if there's any spots in your body that have any gripping, any tension, sensation. Just continuing to scan down, coming into the lower body. We're going to take some cleansing breaths here. So we're going to take a deep inhale through the mouth, or through the nose, sorry, holding the breath slightly for a second at the top, and then opening the mouth wide and exhaling, sighing that breath out. So deep inhale through the nose, suspend the breath for a moment, and opening the mouth. Let's try that again. Deep inhale through the nose, suspending the breath for a moment, perhaps sipping in one little extra bit of air, opening the mouth, and I can tell you really like that. Let's do that one more time. Deep inhale through the nose, holding the breath, and sigh, letting that go. Bringing some movement into the upper body. We're going to start to rotate our upper body around. You can make your circles as big or as small as you like, coming into the Sufi grind. You can inhale the chest forward, exhale, curling back. You can start to bring the head and the neck into this movement. You can close down the eyes if that's comfortable, just flowing with your own breath in through the nose and out through the nose. And flowing at a speed that's comfortable for you. Just beginning to work into the hips, waking up the spine. And on your next inhale, switching directions. And completing your last exhale, coming back to a neutral spine, we are going to move into tabletop position. If you have little baby kneecaps like I do, you can grab a folded up blanket and place that under your knees. Or a towel. Just making sure that it's not so high that you're not level with the ground still. You don't want to remove your balance here. So coming onto that tabletop, all fours, ensuring that the fingers are spread wide, the wrists are stacked under the shoulders, and the knees are stacking under the hips. Neutral spine with that gaze down at the ground, but not coming through. You don't want to drop the head here. And on our inhale, we're going to start to sink the belly down. Socks for yoga? So sinking the belly down, lifting the tailbone up and starting to lift the gaze up, opening the sternum to the front of the room. If that's not comfortable for your neck, you can also still leave the neck neutral here. Inhaling deep into the belly, and then on your exhale, curling up, pressing through the hands to press into your upper back. Stretch that out, let the head hang, and inhaling, dropping the belly, perhaps closing the eyes here, flowing with your own breath. Curling back into your angry cat. If it feels comfortable or right, you can invite a little bit more movement into the rib cage here, perhaps creating a bit of a circle with your body. So your inhales will drop the belly down, starting to press into your side body, and then exhaling around, pressing into the side body and inhaling back up. Closing down the eyes, flowing with your own breath. Just feeling this organic movement here. Waking up the spine. Letting the head hang and flow where it may. And when it feels right, you can change directions. Laughter is fine. You can let that out. It feels a little hoopy doopy, but you can't say it doesn't feel good. And finishing that off with your last exhale, returning to a neutral spine. We're going to bring the big toes to touch at the back of the mat, perhaps opening the knees a little bit wider, and sinking back into your child's pose, Alasana. Arms reach forward, head comes to the ground, perhaps shaking the head no, working out any stress that's held in the forehead. You can remove your glasses here if that makes that a little more comfortable. And taking a moment just to press into the hands here and try to sink your tailbone just a little bit closer to your heels, creating a little bit of traction in the spine. And coming back to your breath here, in and out through the nose. Throughout practice, this is a great place to return back to if you find that you've lost your breath. You want to ground yourself again. Feel free to come back here. And slowly coming up, you can remove the prop from under your knees and start to slide forward onto your belly. Legs stretch out long behind you. And the hands just come to the ground underneath your shoulders here. So we can zip the legs up behind us, pressing the tops of the feet into the ground. We're gonna start to inhale into a cobra pose, baby cobra here. So not using the pressure of your hands, we're gonna use the strength of our back to begin to shine the chest forward, lifting the gaze. Inhale, feeling that work in the back. Lift the hands. I want to make sure you're not cheating. Gorgeous. Placing the hands back down, exhaling, third eye back to the ground. We're going to do one more of those, just waking up the thoracic spine. Inhale, starting to roll the shoulders back, peeling that chest open. Gaze comes up. Squeeze here and releasing back down. You can press into the hands here and starting to move through tabletop position. We are going to lift our bums up high and come into our first downward facing dog. So curling the toes under, spreading the fingers in the hands and making sure that you are pressing into all of the fingers really, but mostly the pointer finger and thumb to take the pressure off your wrists. Eyes of the elbows can rotate forward or together, sinking through there. Gorgeous. Let's try to bend our knees a tiny bit here. Typically, there's a little bit of a misconception with downward dog that it should be a hamstring stretch. This is not the case. So you can feel free to always have bent knees in downward dog. You don't ever have to have your heels to the ground, just energetically moving them towards the ground. So you can pedal out your dog here. You're like, stop talking and let me come out of downward dog. That spine looks gorgeous. It is straight. Let's just try tilting the tailbone high up to the sky. Sorry, maybe giving the wrists a break. I just expect so much from you. We're of the same blood. And tilting that tailbone up. Yes. Shake your head yes and no here. Just release your neck. Comfortable, gorgeous. Let's drop out of that. And you can start to step forward, just popping back up into your downward dog. And you can take as many little steps, a big step, a big old hop if you want, trying to come to the front of your mat, walking your feet in as close as you can to the hands, into your Uttanasana forward fold, bending the knees here. Keep that comfortable. You can bring your hands to your shins, to your thighs, to the ground. Again, let's shake the head yes and no. Are you sweating already? I'm sweating and I'm just sitting here. Breathing into this stretch. Are you feeling any stretch in your hamstrings here? Fabulous. And now, like a little rag doll, bending deeply into the knees, we're going to slowly roll up vertebrae by vertebrae. When the shoulders reach the top, they roll up and back, and the head is the last thing to come up. Stunning. Let's get into our mountain pose here. So I'm just going to face you for ease. We're going to really workshop this. So noticing where your feet are placed, they don't need to quite be hip width apart. They can be a little bit closer if that's comfortable for you. Right under your sit bones. Pressing into all four corners of your feet, lifting the toes up slightly here, and feeling that engagement coming through the arches of the feet. Pulling the strength from the ground up through your legs, lifting the kneecaps. You can place those toes back down, engaging in the quads. And now noticing here that everyone's back sort of has a bit of a sway here, mine more than others. And we're gonna start to drop that tailbone down towards the ground, lifting the pelvis up, navel to spine here, rolling the shoulders up and back, palms face front, perfect. Open across the chest, and that little marionette string pulling you up through the ceiling, feeling strong here. Now think of squeezing all of the muscles in your body into your bones. Give yourself a little hug here. Is your core engaged? Is your tailbone tucked? It is. You are a straight line. And then we are going to inhale our arms straight up overhead. Again, noticing, have your ribs splayed out? Are you tucking navel to spine? Are your shoulders up by your ears, relaxing them down? Now we're going to drop our left arm down the side of our body. And again, noticing where that shoulder is, not lifting with your shoulder, but just inhaling, trying to create a little bit of space in that side body. And as we begin a side bend, we're going to think of going up and over a beach ball here. Now check in with your feet. Is all of your weight in one foot? Perfect. Inhale, coming back up to center, both arms meet. Exhale the right arm down. Again, inhale, create space in that side body. And exhale, up and over that beach ball. getting some lateral movement into the spine. Inhaling, arms come back up. Let's do that one more time. Exhaling, left arm down. Create space and up and over that beach ball. Exhale. Inhaling, coming back to center. And exhaling, other side, up and over. And inhaling back to center here. We're now going to drop the arms and bring in a little bit of fun movement here with willow tree pose. So in willow tree, we're gonna spread the feet as wide as is comfortable. Oh yes, I forget, you can't see. So spreading the legs as wide as is comfortable, you're gonna just start to sway. And unfortunately, I became who Daddy wanted me to, and I'm gonna reference golf here. You wanna lift up your heel of the twisting foot so that you're not torquing the knee. You can gaze behind you, allowing the hands to tap the body. And just feeling that energetically opening up on the hips, on the lower back, just letting that out. Letting the blood flow in the arms, perhaps getting your little sausage fingers. And slowly starting to get smaller with your sways. And just coming back to a nice center position. Let's do that. Take an inhale through the nose. And opening the mouth, let that go. Stunning. Let's get into Tadasana at the front of our mat, mountain pose. You're gonna wanna have your little folded up blanket near you because we're gonna now move into Anjaneyasana, low lunge. So you're gonna need that for your back knee most likely. So standing in your Tadasana, notice where your feet are. They're likely 2 fist width apart, hip width apart. You want to ensure that you keep that spacing when you step your foot back. You don't want to step back into a straight line behind yourself. You're going to topple right over. So we're going to take a deep breath in here, keeping that strength, the core stability that we have. We're going to step back with our right foot into a high lunge. You can bring the hands to the hips here. Yeah, you can wiggle that back foot back, front foot forward, and deepening into the lunge. Perfect. Noticing that alignment there, that is stunning. Knee over ankle bone. Perfection. Tucking that tailbone slightly, navel to spine. Strong. Yes, did you feel that engagement? Gorgeous. Now dropping that back knee and untucking the toes, you can slide your blanket under your knee. Now hands can come to the ground. Perfect. Now again, in this, you do want to get into the hip flexors a little bit here. So you may want to wiggle that front foot forward a tiny bit. Just notice when you come forward if your knee's coming over the ankle joint. And again, sorry? Yeah, just finesse it and see what feels comfortable. You just want to be able to keep your balance good. Now check in with your hips. Anytime we have like an open hip stretch here, where do our hips want to automatically go? So in space, exactly. In space, let's move that front hip back, back hip forward. Strong here in our position. Again, navel to spine, tuck that pelvis, stunning. And breathing as you sink forward, feeling that stretch in that front hip flexor. The strength in your right quad. Inhaling, the hands can come up overhead. And again, checking in with the shoulders, checking in with the ribs. Perfect. Great adjustment. And exhaling, we can bring our hands down to frame the front foot. And we're going to slowly start to sink your bum back towards your heel while flexing that front foot off the ground into your half split. Flexing that back towards your face. Yeah, it does. You can just come to where you feel that sensation. You don't ever want to be somewhere where it's hurting. You can also keep a tiny bend in that front leg just to keep the safety on the hamstring. And again, let's check in with our hips now. What's happened? Have they opened? Just leveling those out, breathing into that hamstring. And as we inhale, dropping that front foot back flat on the ground, sinking back into that front knee and coming back into our low lunge, Anjaneyasana, sweeping the arms up and overhead. Perhaps having a tiny little back bend here, just for fun, but think of bending through your thoracic spine instead of your crunching in your lower back. Gorgeous. Deep breath here. And exhale, placing the hands on either side of the front foot. We're gonna sink back into our half split again, Ardha Hanumanasana. Flexing that toe back. Breathing into that hamstring. And dropping that front foot back, sweeping the arms up overhead. Into our half split. The hands can come back to the hips here. And tucking the back toes, we're gonna lift that knee off the ground and come back into our high lunge. Gorgeous, creating a little bit of lightness in that back foot, maybe hopping it a couple times, and then eventually toppling over and or bringing that back foot up to meet the front foot. Whoa, stunning. Now, root back down through the feet. Nice strong Tadasana. Breathe here. Notice how your legs feel now. What feels different? Does one leg feel longer than the other? Any sensation? Now, hands come to the hips, and we are going to now step our left leg back. Again, making sure that we're keeping a little bit of a spread between the legs, just so that we're not off balance here. Again, tucking that tailbone, navel to spine, perfect. Bending into that front knee, there you go. Inhale here, and exhale, dropping that knee. You can move your blanket under your knee there. And untucking the toe. Again, you might want to wiggle your front foot forward a tiny bit. Checking in with the hips, pulling and pushing to get those hips even and strong. Perfect adjustment, I saw that core. And breathing, sinking forward, feeling that stretch in the hip flexor, the strength in the quad. And pulling your hips together can also help you gain a little bit of stability here as well. You can really press into the top of that back foot. It'll take some pressure off your knee. And inhaling, the arms can come up overhead. Tucking those ribs in. Stunning. And exhaling, arms can come down on either side of the front foot. Starting to sink the hips back, flexing into that front foot. And breathing into the hamstrings here, noticing if your hips are off centered now. Just moving that back. Breathing here. And inhaling, dropping that front foot and sinking forward into that knee. Coming back into your Anjaneyasana, low lunge, sweeping the arms up overhead. Perhaps taking a tiny little back bend here. Thinking of having that bend in your thoracic mid-spine. Again, up and over a beach ball. Deep breaths in and out the nose. And exhaling, hands can frame the front foot, sinking back into our last half split. Really flexing those toes back, active in that foot. Yes, breathe into that burn. And last time, sinking forward. You can sweep the arms up overhead one last time. And hands can come to the hips, untucking that back toe, lifting the knee off the ground. You can remove your blanket if you can reach it from here. Perfect. And bending into that front knee. Hey, what you do to one side, you must do to the other. So you did that on purpose, right? Growing light in that back foot and stepping up to meet the front foot. Gorgeous. Tadasana, mountain pose. Feeling strong here. Let's do that cleansing breath again. Inhale through the nose, opening the mouth, and exhale. Taking a moment here, perhaps closing down the eyes. Hands can come to heart center, Anjali Mudra. Feeling into the strength of your mountain pose. Feeling what's been activated in your legs, your hips. and moving into our classic sun salutation, Surya Namaskar. We are gonna take a drink of water first, moisturize, it's very good for you, hydrate yourself. And coming back strong into our Tadasana mountain pose. We're going to inhale, arms sweep up overhead. Palms come to touch. You can add a tiny little back bend here, but again, ensuring that's coming from the thoracic spine and not your lower back. Perfect. And exhale, swan diving forward into your Uttanasana, forward fold, bending into the knees, wherever's comfortable so that you can place your hands on the ground. We're going to place our palms flat on the ground, bending into the knees, and stepping or hopping back. Bend the knees, there you go, and stepping or hopping back into our high plank. Squeezing here. That is perfect. Now let's release the knees to the ground. And after that, let's go chest and chin, sucking the arms in close to the body. Beautiful. And we're now going to, keeping the hands up under the shoulders, let's take a gentle version, sucking the legs in together. We'll do our baby cobra again. So squeezing, rolling those shoulders back, starting to shine the chest forward. Inhale up and exhale, dropping the head, pressing into the hands, coming up through your tabletop position and tucking the toes and pressing the hips high into your downward facing dog. Again, checking here that your knees are bent to a comfortable place, tucking that tailbone up high, tilting, I should say. Gorgeous. Take a breath here. Inhale, gaze comes up to the thumbs, and you can take many steps or a hop to the front of your mat, back into your forward fold, Uttanasana. Let's take a breath here, reaching for opposite elbows with your arms. Hanging here, again, shaking the head yes and no, really releasing that out. Bending the knees as much as you need to, perhaps a lot to let the upper body be held by the legs. And releasing those arms. Amen, girl. I feel you. Releasing those arms. We're gonna ragdoll ourselves back up slowly. Head is the last thing to come up, rolling the shoulders up and back. And inhaling the arms up overhead. And exhaling, palms come to heart center, Anjali Mudra. Stunning. Let's do that again, why don't we? Inhale, sweeping the arms up overhead. Palms come to touch, perhaps a baby back bend here. And exhale, swan diving forward, letting that body drape over the legs, bending the knees. Inhale and exhale, placing the palms flat, stepping or hopping back to your high plank. Taking a breath here to strengthen in the core and dropping the knees, chest, chin, or taking your full chaturanga if it's in your practice. And inhaling up to your baby cobra, or now pressing up into your upward facing dog if you would like to do so. And exhaling, pressing into the palms, coming through tabletop, and lifting the tailbone high into your downward facing dog. Take 2 breaths here. Let's take a lion's breath. So we're going to inhale deeply through the nose, and on the exhale, opening the mouth and sticking out your tongue and creating that heat in the back of the throat. Let's do that again. Inhale through the nose and sticking out the tongue. Gorgeous. Bending the knees, gaze comes up with the thumbs. Stepping or hopping forward to the front of your mat, Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale, sweeping the arms up overhead, palms come to touch. And exhale, hands come to Anjali Mudra, heart center. Taking a breath here. Now, feeling nice and strong in your mountain pose. Equal pressure in both feet. Let's actually start to bring the heat, if you will, into our right foot. Hands can come to the hips here. We're going to come into tree pose. So you can kickstand that left leg by bringing the toes into the foot, and heel to the ankle. This is still a tree, y'all. It just has wider roots. Breathing here, feeling stable, pressing through that right foot, stable here, not sinking into the hip, strong, tucking that tailbone, core engaged. If you want to come deeper, you can slide up to the calf, ensuring that you're never on the knee joint here. If you would like to come even deeper, you can reach down and grab your foot and bring it right up high into your, what's this called? Thigh, your inner thigh. Sometimes your balance is off that day, sometimes your pants are trying to fall off. But just using wherever your foot comes, equal pressure from the thigh and the foot into each other. Hands come to heart center. And inhaling, if you're ready, opening up those branches, making tiny little micro adjustments here as well. If you notice you start to follow one way, not pulling yourself back to the other way, you want to just do tiny little adjustments. If you fall out, that's fine. Just grab yourself back, slowly coming into where is comfortable. You got that, girl. It's going to start to ache in that foot. Let's hold it for one more little breath. And as gracefully as we came in, hands come to heart center. Lifting that foot and releasing that to the ground. Give that a little jig. Shake that out. Shake it off. Don't see me, Taylor. Now, strong in our Tadasana. Again, we're going to start to sink into our left leg. Perhaps the right foot just floats off the ground. We can do our little kickstand again on this side. You can slide up to the calf, or you can reach down, grab the foot, and come all the way up. I notice I'm usually a little bit different on my feet as well. For some reason, this side is a little crazy for me. So that's fine too. If you could come higher on one side than the other, that's totally fine. Balance is different on each leg. But thinking of rooting down through the foot to pull your upper body higher. Hands come to heart center, Anjali Mudra. And inhaling, your branches open if that feels comfortable for you. Micro adjustments here, perhaps lifting the gaze slightly. Hands coming back through heart center, lifting that foot and dropping her back down. Give that a little wiggle. Shake it out. Now we're going to come to the front of our mats, again in Tadasana. We're moving into our warrior sequence. It's about to get sweaty. Okay, take a little sippy sip. Have a little sippy sip. Now we are going to do a warrior one variation. This can also be crescent lunge, high lunge, crescent lunge, high lunge. This is just a little bit easier on the knee with standard warrior one with that back foot flat. I find that the hips can come quite open, and when you do try to correct that, you can torque on your knee. So we're going to be doing the variation here. So stepping that right leg back into your high lunge. Heel is high up off the ground. And sinking into that front knee. Again, tucking the tailbone, engaging the core. Think of pressing into both feet in space so you could almost rip your yoga mat in half. If it's cheap, maybe it will rip. I don't know. Breathing here. Let's inhale our arms up overhead. Checking in with the rib cage, the core, the shoulders. Making sure that the shoulders are down, away from the ears. Strong here. Now taking that right arm, we are going to start to sweep that back as we drop our heel. And we can bring that back heel perpendicular to our front heel. Yes. She knows those math terms. So the front heel should now be in line with the arch of the back foot. So yes, changing your stance, that's totally fine. Perhaps wiggling out a little bit longer. I find I need a little bit more space in my warrior two. And now removing that hand from your knee, madam. Inhaling and exhaling, sinking into that front knee. Knee is over the ankle. Yes, it is. Opening those arms out wide, tucking that pelvis, navel to spine. Let's flip our palms up here to roll the shoulders down the back, and then flipping them back. Drishti, gaze is at your middle finger of your front arm, bending into that knee. I see you. Flipping the palms back down. Breathing here, gazing at that front middle finger. And we are going to bend into our front knee. We're still in warrior two. Thank you. Exhaling, dropping that elbow to our front knee and sweeping the front arm around and up. Inhaling, pulling out of our strong back foot there, pulling the energy from the earth up through the side body and shooting out through the fingers, nice and strong. Gaze can be up at your elbow or down at the ground, whatever's more comfortable on your neck. Bending into that front knee. And inhale, windmilling the arms back up to warrior two, keeping that front knee bent. Bend it. And straighten it. Sweet release. We are gonna take our hand off our knee joint. Don't make me tell you again. We're gonna start to sink forward with our body as if our feet are stuck in quicksand. Someone's pulling your hand, and releasing to the calf. Let's drop that front arm and sweep it back open, opening that chest up to the ceiling. You can twist and gaze up at your thumb or down at the ground, whatever's comfortable. Let's bring that foot up, that hand.
Your body off the ground.
Let's release the body from the ground. Let's bring the hand up off the foot and slide it up the calf slightly. Does that feel better? Are you more open now? Able to twist? It's sliding back down. Pressing in here. Now, noticing with both knees, pulling them energetically up the legs. You don't want to have hyperextension happening. Please do not put your hand on your knee. Bad. Breathing here. And we're going to inhale, sweep the arms back up, press into the legs. Oh, you're in your warrior two. You know what that means? Bend that front knee. Yeah, bend. Alrighty. Inhaling, straighten it. I just wanted to make you do that one more time. Let's swivel those front toes to the front long edge of the mat. You want to think of almost having your toes in and heels out slightly. You can widen your stance if that's comfortable. Again, energetically pulling the knees up the fronts of the legs, engagement in the quads. I almost said calves. And tucking that navel to spine. Hands come to the hips here. We're going to protract the chin and think of painting down the front of the wall, strong in the core, not extending into the knees, releasing the hands to the ground. We're going to take a little halfway lift here. Inhale, flat back, and exhale, fold, dropping down. Your hands can come to opposite elbows here, again, like you did in your forward fold. We're now in our wide-legged forward fold. You want to know what that is? It's Prasarita Padottanasana. Woohoo! There will be a quiz later. Now, we're going to bring our hands up to our hips, slightly bending into the knees, engaging in the core and pulling ourselves up to standing. Strong here. Now let's go ahead and take those toes that were our back toes and swivel those to the front of the mat so that we're in warrior 2 feet with our other side. Woo! So hips are opening to me. Yes, bending into that front knee. You can open your stance slightly if you feel like that knee is going to go over the ankle joint. Opening the arms up. Again, let's flip the palms to roll the shoulders down the back, engaging that core, navel to spine, tucking the tailbone. You can flip the hands back over. Gaze, drishti is your middle finger of your front hand. Breathing here, breathe into that burn. Stay for a second longer than you think you can. And exhale, dropping that elbow of the front hand onto your thigh, sweeping that arm around, up and over, pressing into that back outer edge of your foot and pulling the energy up from the earth and shooting out your fingers. Gaze can be up at the elbow or down at the ground here. Pressing into this elbow to lift your ribs away from your leg. Yes, stunning. We are going to windmill back up to our warrior 2. You know what that means? Keep that front knee bent. Yes. Breathe into that burn. And inhale, straighten that front leg. That was great on that side. Let's extend into our triangle pose. So being pulled forward, and oof, release that hand onto the shin. And again, let's drop this front hand down. so that we can sweep open. Gaze can look up at the top thumb or down at the ground, depending on how the neck feels here. Opening up, not collapsing through the lower body, pulling up. Strong in the legs, making sure you're not hyperextending anywhere. And slightly bending into that front knee, we can windmill sweep ourselves back up to standing. Core engaged. Warrior 2 for just a second longer because it's fun for me. And then we're gonna take our back arm and we are going to sweep it around to meet the front while we twist that back toe up off the ground back into our high lunge. Yes. Gorgeous. Arms up in the air. Breathing. Strong core here. Tucking that pelvis. Bending into that front knee. Pulling your mat apart with your feet. Strong, strong, strong legs. And now we are just going to grow super light in that back foot and step forward to meet our front foot. Stunning. Tadasana. Woo. Mountain pose. Beautiful. Now, let's wiggle that all out. Give her a little shake. That was fabulous. Whew, whew, whew. Now it's playtime. It's about to go down. We are moving into crow play. Wow! How exciting. Let me turn a light on. Because the sun going down. Okay, crow play. Woo! So from standing, we're going to bring into our first position from ballet. We're going to bring our little heels together here. And then we can just pop down into your little squat. Stunning first position. Gorgeous. Come down into your little squat. So heels, you can wiggle in your heels a little bit closer together. High up on those toes. Hands can come down here. Now we're gonna spread our fingers wide. Place the hands energetically down on the ground. Is my butt right in the camera? That's all right. Extra points, am I right? Just kidding. So spreading those fingers, pressing into the ground, eyes of the elbows come forward. It really burns the thighs, doesn't it? Yes, ma'am, it does. So high up on your little toes here, we are going to start to lift the bum up high and trying to bring the knees in to the armpits. So noticing where your knees currently are, they're right on those triceps. Yeah, you can straighten the knees because it seriously burns, like it kills me. So if you're bringing your knee right onto your tricep, you're gonna notice when you start to try and put pressure, your tricep is like, goodbye, it's gone. So I notice if I start to come to a little bit to the outside, find where I feel that tricep, and I just go, excuse me, and I move it with my knee. You can also come right to the outer edges. That's still a crow pose. If you come right on the outsides and squeeze in, but some people find they got that leg strength, man. So they're gonna almost pull too hard and pull their arms out of whack. So just find a comfy sweet spot for your knees. Starting to lean forward, making sure that your gaze is not between your hands. It is up at a little point of your triangle. Perhaps lifting one foot off the ground, perhaps lifting the other foot. Yes, girl, give those thighs a break. Sinking forward, yes, good. Again, I even like fully straighten my legs, but we all know that I have like the shortest legs and the longest arms. So I come right in with my legs like straight so I can like withstand the thigh burn for as long as I can and try to bring those knees almost up a little bit higher. Let's try to get higher with that. You're like, no. You can literally like step one leg out a little bit wider so you've got like space to lean, but try to bring one leg in just to see what that feels like. You can step one leg out wide like you're giving a little attitude. Like you're performing some sass here. Sass leg. Pop a sass leg. And now try to just get the feeling. You're not going to come in from here, but get that feeling of bringing that knee into your armpit higher. I want that knee higher. Even with your sass leg?
Look, you see?
Yeah, my gut's in the middle too. I move it out of the way. I'm cutting all of this out of this video. So just one more time coming in. Let's try it once more before we move on. Just trying to sink forward, gaze comes forward, and we start to suck into our bandhas. So you know this, you know Mula Bandha. It's basically a Kegel, but also including your butt. So squeeze all of that up, shooting up, squeezing the core, pressing into our shoulder girdle, pressing into the hands, gaze goes slightly forward, breathing and engaging, press. Yes, that was so close. Do it once more, try it once more. I know I said once more, but I'm a dirty liar. Breathing, pressing, squeezing, all of it, everything you can do, just do it all.
I did.
You did, that was very good, that was really close. So just trying that perhaps every day for a minute. Try to get one leg off, then the other. You can also bring a block under your feet or books. I don't know if a pillow will do it, but you can try. Oh, you're gonna sit on it, okay. But yeah, we can try any of that. So you're actually gonna come into staff pose now, Dandasana. So no pillows for you. Staff pose. We're gonna extend our legs out long in front of us. And like all things in yoga, it's gonna be engaged. We have no chill time. You can relax when you're in Shavasana, madam. So flexing those toes back towards you, stunning. So your lower back is nice and like coming out of your hips. That's perfect, that's what you want. But you have that natural tilt to your pelvis. So you've got that tilt, you're coming up straight, extending up high, engaging the legs, hands come down by the sides of the booty, pressing into those arms, flexing those feet. I see that foot relaxing. Pull it back, strong, rise up, rise up. Oh, engage Mula Bandha here. So I see you seem like you're leaning back a little bit. Come forward a little bit with the arms. If your arms can't quite reach, you can also tent the fingers. But you just want to be energetically pushing into the ground here. Like my arms are so long, I can probably lift my butt off the ground here, so I have troubles with this one too. We have opposite problems here. So pressing in, engaging Mula Bandha. So engaging that perineum, engaging the anus. I'm sorry that I said that word out loud, but I did. Just engage it so I don't have to say it again. So pulling that up. So that's going to be your root lock. That's your Mula Bandha. So energy isn't going to be flowing down now. It's stuck. You've got it here. Moving on to our Uddiyana Bandha. Right here. Upward flying is what that means. So we're tucking in our core and pulling up. So we're bringing all of that energy shooting up out of our heads here. Squeeze, 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 engage, 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 and release. I literally just watched your Mula Bandha release. You were like, whoosh. Okay, so now we're gonna come into half dragonfly. I apologize for objectifying you. We're gonna, if your floor is really hard, grab your blanket. I find this quite hard on my heel for some reason. So half dragonfly, we're gonna bring our right foot out wide, and this is the foot that I put my heel on my blanket. Don't wrap it up too much though, because you don't want your leg like up like this. Just enough, like you don't want it like hyperextending out like bleh. We're not doing that crazy gymnastics oversplit here. That might be too high. Try it. Yeah, like that's where I do mine too. And just put that, so then opening that right leg out wide, placing that heel there, flexing the toes back towards the face, and we're gonna bring this foot in like this. Now, typically you would see people moving this way, coming down over this leg, but we're gonna meet some compression here with the hip, and also, you know, the quarantine snacks. So what we're gonna do instead, because we wanna just work into the hips, we're gonna extend up high, growing tall, and we're gonna start to, with a flat back first, just come straight over your bent leg here. Keep your back straight for as long as you can. When you find that you hit your wall, take a deep breath, breathe some space into the posture, and then start to curl down slightly. We don't wanna ever come to a place where we're like, just collapsed in the pose, but you can add a little bit of release into here. Breathing into the hips, breathing into that hamstring of that right leg as your toe flexed. And slowly inhaling, hands help you come back up. Bring both legs to the center, give them a little wiggle. Ooh. Shake that out. You can drag your blanket around to the other side. Extending that left foot out, flexing through that foot, and bringing your right heel into your upper thigh. Again, inhale, extend up high out of your sit bones, and exhaling with a flat back, starting to come down over that foot. I find my ankle on this one for some reason on this side really hurts. But just noticing where you feel sensation and breathing into that. When you find that wall that you've hit, take a deep breath. Create space and exhale, sink a little deeper. Flexing those toes up towards your head. And inhaling, starting to use the hands to help you back up. Again, shooting both feet out in front of you, giving those feet a little wiggle. Ooh. And we're gonna bring the feet in now, palms, soles of the feet to touch in our butterfly pose. So heels can be as close or as far from the body as they need to be so that you're still getting that extension out of your hip bones. Perfect, yes, no grounding in the lower back. You can hold on to your shins, your ankles, your feet, wherever you can kind of stay comfortable. So we're gonna grow tall up out of that. And exhale again, straight spine, starting to come towards the feet, moving to where you start to feel that pressure in those hips, and then inhaling and exhaling, you can start to sink into that, releasing the head. Breathing into the hips, feeling the lower back and upper back starting to release. And inhaling, coming back up. We're going to extend the feet out long in front of us again, coming into that Dandasana staff pose. Wiggling so that you're on the fronts of your sit bones, but never pulling the butt flesh out because that will expose your hamstring. So flexing those toes back towards us, we're gonna grow nice and tall up out of our sit bones here. We're gonna sweep the arms up overhead. And with your exhale, as flat of a back as you can manage, starting to come down. Hands can come onto the legs, they can come onto the ground, the feet. Again, inhale, doing your little boat pull, create space. And exhale, beginning to fold here. Feeling the lower back starting to release. Feeling that stretch in the hamstrings. If the hamstrings are feeling a little too much intensity, you can start to bend the knees just slightly. Just releasing down. Using your inhales to create a bit more space, and your exhales perhaps lowering you a little bit deeper. I like to try and scoop my lower belly, so it's almost like an up and over, because sometimes you gotta move that gut a little bit to get some space. Trying to get her out of the way, you know what I'm saying? And inhale, slowly, slowly coming back up. Moving into a seated twist here, we're gonna lift up our right leg and pull that heel in as close to our bum as we can, keeping both sits bones on the ground here. We're gonna start to use our left hand, our opposite hand, to either come all the way around here, or again with the quarantine snacks, I'm just gonna come to this spot. I like to do a little bit of a lean back and move the gut slightly around my leg just for comfort. But then we're gonna inhale this right arm and exhale, tenting those fingers behind you, beginning to twist, not pulling with your back hand or trying to come into a super deep twist, making sure that you're never pulling with your head. You want this twist to come from your mid-thoracic spine. So inhale, let's grow nice and tall. And exhale, twisting a little bit deeper. The chin can tuck slightly to take the pressure off the neck. Now breathe deeply into the belly here and notice that feeling of that massage on your organs. And inhaling the head back to center, followed by the rest of the body. We're gonna release that leg and come right into the other side, bringing that heel in close to the bum. Again, wrapping your opposite arm around the leg, perhaps leaning back slightly, moving your gut around the leg, and inhaling up, and exhaling, tenting the fingers behind you. Again, inhale, grow tall, create space, and exhale, twisting, wringing out that spine, tucking the chin slightly, gaze towards the shoulder. Again, deep belly breaths here, feeling that massage. Inhaling the head back to center, followed by the body, releasing that leg. We are now going to grab our folded up blanket, as I know that we both have tailbone issues here. So we're gonna keep our blanket folded up. We're gonna try to do boat pose. Let me know if it is hurting in your tailbone too much and we can do something else. I found that I can do it if I have my blanket behind me. So just fold it up to where you feel like you're still stable in your boat pose. Navasana, and just see if you can start to bring the feet up so that your feet are flat on the ground, tucking the hands behind your knees. You might want to slide your blanket back a little bit, actually, because I need to lean back onto my blanket for it to be okay. So starting to lean back slightly onto the sacrum, is that okay, or is that going to hurt? Okay, okay. So starting to lift the toes up, and then perhaps lifting the heels up, or 1 foot at a time, or you can leave the heels on the ground, whichever works the most comfortably. Extending the arms out to the sides here, and making sure that we're not collapsing into our lower back. You want to keep pulling up strong here. So leaning back into that. Hands can always stay behind the knees, wherever feels the most comfortable. Strong in the core. Breathing. Let's not forget that. And releasing that down, giving that a little wiggle, waggle. Whew. We're gonna do it again. Yay! I knew that's what you wanted all along. You're welcome. So bringing the feet back up flat on the ground, hands behind the knees. We're going to slowly tilt back, engaging the core, and beginning to lift maybe 1 foot, maybe both feet. Hands come out to the side here, or staying behind the knee. Inhaling, breathing, and dropping down. Whoo, my. Now, whichever way is the most comfortable for you to come to your stomach, let's go ahead and do that. So you can swirl the feet around behind you, whatever works the best. We're gonna come into our Sphinx pose. So just rolling over onto your tummy. What is happening? Gorgeous, stunning. So Sphinx pose, we are stacking our elbows under the shoulders, rolling those shoulders, peeling them back, pressing into the palms flat on the ground. Head can come up, or you can keep the neck neutral. Let's pull those legs and zip them up in the back. Now, to take a little pressure off the lower back here, let's tuck the tailbone and start to tilt the pelvis, almost like you're pressing the pelvis into the ground. And try and bring your elbow a little bit closer under your shoulder. Let's look a little bit far forward, I would say. Just back slightly, yes. Pressing those wrists into the ground, pressing the forearms into the ground. Strong here, rolling back those shoulders. And releasing down. We are going to bring the arms down long against the sides of the body. Uh-oh. We are about to locust. So bring the arms down long, palms can face up. Forehead can come to the mat. On your inhale, you are going to peel the shoulders back, lifting the arms, lifting the chest, lifting the head, and lifting the legs. Squeezing that all together. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Pressing into that back, pull that chest up just a little bit higher, and exhale, ear comes down to the mat, letting the heels fall in, releasing that, and forehead comes to the mat again. We're going to do that once more, starting to peel the shoulders back, rolling them back, pulling up, lifting those arms, lifting those legs, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Squeeze a little tighter, bring those feet a little closer together. I want you to grow an inch more off the ground. One more, come on, inhale. Yes, and drop, opposite ear to the mat. Letting those heels fall in. Stunning. Releasing that. Now just rolling on over to our backs. Just as graceful as pie. We are going to bring the knees up so the feet are flat on the ground, knees pointing up. Bring the heels a little closer so you can almost brush them with your fingers. Making sure that the knees are hip width apart, feet hip width apart. Now, beginning to lift up slightly in the chest and tucking those shoulders underneath your body. You're gonna start to squeeze the pelvis up high, pressing into those feet, pressing into those hands, bridge pose. Think of pushing your chest towards your chin, lifting that pelvis just a little bit higher, breathing here as well as you can, being chestful as we are. And very, very, very slowly, I want you to start sinking down, tucking your pelvis so that your sacrum is the last thing to hit the ground. Releasing there. Moving into wind relieving pose, pulling both knees up into your chest, giving them a little squeeze. Ooh, please do not release any wind here. And releasing those feet back down to the ground. We're gonna cross our right ankle over our left knee, coming into figure 4. You can stay here if that's comfortable, or you can come up, reach through your little 4 here and grab the back of your thigh and pull that in. You can also grab the front of your shin, whatever's comfortable, and then releasing the shoulders and the head back towards the ground. Breathing deeply here, sending that breath into that hip and that glute, flexing both feet actively. We're not relaxing yet, no ma'am. Inhales, create a little bit more space, and exhales, perhaps move those feet a little closer to you. And releasing those feet down. Let's switch sides so the left ankle crosses over the right knee. Take a breath here, and if you would like, you can reach through your little figure 4 and grab the back of your thigh, relaxing the head and shoulders back towards the ground, flexing both feet active. Nice. Inhaling and exhaling, perhaps moving those feet and knees a little closer to your face. And releasing that down. Let's lift both knees up into a 90-degree angle, releasing the arms out to a T. And we are slowly going to drop the knees to the right, ensuring that that left shoulder blade stays rooted into the ground. So whether just your feet touch, maybe your knees won't touch, you really just want to keep that shoulder rooted. Gaze can go towards that left thumb, or your head can stay straight up. Your right arm can come to the knees if that's comfortable. And like we did in our seated twist, breathing deep into the belly and noticing how this feels here. Is it a little uncomfortable being twisted like this? Without judgment, just feeling the spine wringing out. And inhaling the head back to center, followed by the knees, using the core to pull those back up. Whoosh. And let's gaze over to the other thumb and start to drop our knees down the opposite to the left, ensuring that right shoulder blade stays rooted into the ground. The left hand can come to the knees if that's comfortable. Gaze can be at the thumb of the outstretched arm, or the head can be straight if that's more comfortable on the neck. Breathing deeply into the belly here. Wringing out that spine like a towel. Preferably a wet towel, because otherwise why are you wringing it out, am I right? And inhaling the head back to center, followed by the rest of the body, using that core to lift those knees up. Ooh. Yes, and placing those feet back on the ground. We can widen the feet out a little bit wider than the mat or width of the mat, and just windshield wiper those knees for just a quick minute, just to release that lower back. And then extending the feet out long. We've got one more pose before Shavasana. So let's widen our right leg out wider than the mat and bring our left leg to cross over that ankle. Yes, ma'am. We are going to grasp our right wrist with our left fingers and start to wiggle those shoulders over so you're in a bit of a little crescent moon here. Yeah, so wiggle yourself over to really get that stretch, not rolling over, like lifting up your shoulders and moving them over. Yeah. So feeling that stretch in the side body, sending your breath into your rib cage on the left side. Breathing into those intercostals, stretching that out. And moving back to center. I can see your left toes shaking. Stretching that out and then extending that left leg a little wide, bringing the right leg to cross over top and switching your grasp so that your right hand is grasping your left wrist if that's what you had the first time, and wiggling those shoulders over to the side to extend that little crescent moon a little bit more, and breathing into that side body, opening up those ribs, perhaps feeling the stretch into your hip a little bit. And coming back to center. Taking one quick little happy baby here. Just to take one last little stretch into those hips. You can grab for the shins or the ankles or the feet. And really pulling into the feet with the arms and pressing into the hands with the feet to feel that lower back extend onto the ground. Perhaps rocking side to side, releasing something here before we extend the legs out straight when you're ready. Coming into your Shavasana, corpse pose. Tucking the tailbone slightly here to release that long on the mat. Perhaps lifting up the shoulders and tucking them under slightly to open the chest, slightly tucking the chin to lengthen the neck. And breathing here. Coming back to our anchor point that we found at the beginning of this class. And again, without judgment, just noticing the breath as it moves in and out. Not trying to change anything or deepen. Just observing the tempo of your breath. And feeling into your body, noticing what's shifted here, what emotions have been changed or come up. And just allowing that to be what it is and letting it go. Sending your breath down into your toes and your ankles and letting them drop deeper into the floor. Sending your next breath down, swirling around the legs, into the kneecaps, the calves, the shins, quads and hamstrings. Breathing into your glutes and your hips. And just giving this strong base point of your body the permission to just release, letting any leftover tension or stress seep into the floor. Relaxing. And breathing into the trunk of the body, feeling the breath swirling around the belly, lower back, chest and heart space, your upper back and the shoulders. Just releasing all of that down into the ground, feeling held and supported by the earth. The next breath sweeping down through the arms into the hands hands and the tips of the fingers, allowing the fingers to slightly curl into the palms, and the elbows drop heavy and sink into the ground. And lastly, breathing up into your head space, noticing if there's anything that you're holding on to in the face. Can you release the little muscles around the eye, letting the eyeballs sink heavy into their sockets, perhaps parting the lips slightly and letting the jaw sink back, releasing all of the tension in the body. Deepening the breath slightly, letting the attention come back into your body, bringing tiny movements into the fingers and toes. Perhaps rolling the wrists and ankles. And lifting the arms up overhead, taking a full body stretch here. Perhaps letting out a sigh or a yawn, a little squeak, whatever comes up here. And then slowly, slowly, gently bringing the knees up and rolling onto your right side into the fetal position, using your right arm as a pillow, resting here for a moment in gratitude. And keeping the eyes closed or soft, using that left arm to help push you up, coming up into your Sukhasana, easy pose. You can grab a pillow for under your sit bones if that's comfortable. And with your inhale, as if it's a piece of sticky fly paper, gathering up any last bits of stress, tension, or gripping in the body. Attaching that to that little piece of fly paper, and with your exhale, opening the mouth wide, let that all go. Sigh. Again, finding any last little bits of tension, inhale through the nose. And as loud as you can, exhale. Let that go. Our last inhale, inviting a little bit of a vibration here, maybe a little bit of a smile as we exhale to the sound of mmm. Inhale deeply through the nose. And exhale, mmm. Hands come to heart center, Anjali Mudra, pressing the thumbs into the sternum, perhaps feeling the heartbeat, bowing the head slightly, taking a moment to thank your body for carrying you through this practice and carrying you through your life every day. And thanking yourself for taking this time out of your day to do something that is just for you, just for your wellness and your mind. Lokha samasta sukhino bhavantu. May all beings everywhere be happy and free. The light in me acknowledges, honors, and bows to the light in you. Namaste. Thank you for joining me in this practice. I'm gonna turn this video off now so you can abuse me. Oh, my hips.